All right, welcome back, Australian boxing fans. It is 7:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, November the 28th, 2023, outside of sunny Philadelphia. Over in Melbourne, Australia, it is 11:25 p.m. What is it? Also the 28th of November. So we got a lot of topics to talk about. Let me read them off to you here. Liam Parrow's taking on Montana Love. This is Australian boxing on the Regis Prograis versus the Devin Haney card. That's going to be next week, November the 9th. You got Ebony Bridges, whose fight just has been altered because news has come out that how do you pronounce his name? Avro Maty has pulled out with
That
an
is correct.
injury. That is breaking news. We're going to talk about Sky Nicholson's performance against Lucy Wildheart on the undercard of Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron too. Alex Winwood, the minimum weight contender, is taking on a Chris Ganaza. That is going to be this weekend, right? I believe it is. This weekend. Andrew
That's
Moloney
correct. That's
is
correct.
returning against Judy Flores. Jason Maloney against Saul Sanchez. Tszyu Opetaia is going to be on that major card. We're going to be doing full coverage for that. Fight week preview, post fight, etc. On that major card against with Anthony Joshua versus Alawalin and Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker, Tszyu Opetaia, IBF, and Ring. He is the Ring, right? Yeah, he's the Ring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ring
Please.
Magazine Cruiserweight Champion is going to be taking on the Ellis Zorro. I've seen him fight somewhere before, but when we get to that topic, we're going to jump on it. And then we're going to talk about, at the end of the video, what's next for Tszyu, whether it's going to be Erickson Lubin, Jamel Charlo. The IBF title has been vacated by Jamel Charlo. Jamel Charlo currently now only has two belts left, the WBC and the WBA. Tszyu, full WBO champion, and Jack Couquet and Bakram Murtazaliev will likely be fighting for that vacant IBF. And then we'll close out the video with what's going on with Vasil Lomachenko versus George Kambosos, which may not be taking place until mid to late March to all the way in April. So let's talk about what's going on with Ebony Bridges. She's supposed to be returning, fighting on the undercard of Devin Haney and Regis Prograis for the WBC 140-pound title is Prograis versus Haney. It's going to be here on the Zone pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on regular Zone over there for you guys, right? Or are they charging you guys pay-per-view? Do you know?
No, I haven't looked into
Let me
it. I
check.
haven't looked into it, to
I'll
be honest
check.
with you.
I'll
So,
check. So you say her fight, news has come out that her fight against, Avro Maty, she's pulled out. Injury, I'm guessing?
yeah, well, that's what I only saw about this an hour and a half ago, according to Australian Boxing Central, that Avril Maty has pulled out, and there are also other reports that she wasn't training or something was going wrong. But
Oh.
I couldn't be happier that this fight's called off, because it was a bullshit fight and an OnlyFans pillow fight anyway, because it was only a chance for both girls to promote their OnlyFans pages, so it was bullshit. So I'm glad that it's called off. Now, Ebony might have to, well, they'll find some bullshit opponent for her. I mean, it's 10 days notice
Yeah.
or something like that? So they're not going to find a top-tier fighter. They'll find someone that she can easily take care of and then move on to the next stage. So,
By the way, Avro Maty was 8-1 and she is 8-1-1 with 3 KOs. She's resides in Miami, listed from Sydney. She lost to Ramla Ali. I've covered this fight earlier this year. And that's the only opponent of note on her record that I know of, and pretty piss poor record after all. So I'm guessing, as you said, this was just a showcase fight for her and Ebony Bridges to show off their bikinis in San Francisco, to bring that to America, where basically it would be accepted. So she's trying to build some fans over here in America, like she did over in the UK with, the lingerie. So I wonder who they're going to bring out this time. Are they going to try to find another good-looking woman, or I'm guessing just try to get her some rounds in, because she hasn't fought, Ebony Bridges, 9-1 with 4 KOs. She hasn't fought since, and it will be a year this weekend.
yes, it's a year since she defended her belt successfully against Shannon O'Connell.
And this layoff was another injury, correct? Or was it?
Yeah, Ebony hurt her hand in that fight, so she Yep. So she was supposed to come back around August, but then they put it off until now.
So isn't this her second or maybe third? This is her second hand injury, right? In what, 3 years?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, because she hurt it against Maingley's Ganglov. And she hurt it again against Shannon. So Shannon O'Connell. So I mean, apparently I've seen footage of her on the pad. She looks pretty good on the pads, but that doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean nothing until you get into the ring.
Now, don't get me wrong. She's already proven to me that she can fight. I'm already on board. You know, I know she can fight. I agree with, you know, a lot of the way she handles some things out the ring. But hey, girl, go ahead and make your money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give two shits what she does outside the ring. I mean, you'll never see me subscribe to her OnlyFans or anything else for that matter. But yeah, I mean, I'm only interested in her boxing in-ring ability. And based on her last fight, it's vastly improved because many people, including us, thought Shannon would take care of her pretty easily. And Ebony kicked the shit out of Shannon. And speaking of Shannon O'Connell, she's actually due to return in 2024.
Okay, and so, she had a shoulder injury, correct, that she was dealing with?
Yeah, she's had a shoulder injury, and it might be possible, we'll get to this later, that she might be on that Tszyu Vegas card in March.
Okay.
So, or maybe earlier.
As far as Ebony, I wonder if she's targeting Dina Thorslund, the 20-0 with 8 KOs ever on the screen. She now has that WBC and WBO title.
I think she'll go after Nina Hughes first because that politically can be made, and Thorslund would kick the shit out of Ebony.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen anytime soon.
So you think it's going to be Nina Hughes? Does Nina have that IBF?
No, Nina has WBA. Ebony's got IBF.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. All right, got you. Yeah. And have I seen Nina Hughes fight before? No, I haven't. I did see some highlights from the Jamie Mitchell fight, but I haven't actually seen her fight. I mean, you think Ebony can beat her? She's 41 years old, 6-0 with 2 KOs.
Yes, I think Ebony could beat Nina Hughes. I think Thorslund would absolutely wipe the floor of her. But I mean, I don't know who they're going to fight, who they're going to find at short notice to take a toll fight. Yeah. It would be good if they could get Shannon Courtney, but I seriously doubt she'd be ready. Happening. So they'll probably find some. Well, I mean, Avril Matthew was a nobody who lost her last fight, so I imagine they wouldn't be too hard to dig up somebody.
Yeah.
So
well, since we're on the topic of women's boxing, how did you feel Sky Nicholson looked with her corner stoppage? We've been saying she needs to get a stoppage, but she's got a corner stoppage over a Lucy Wildheart. Yeah,
I mean, I still think her fight against Perez was better than this one, and she still leaves herself dangerously wide open for that counter. As I've been saying it for 6 fights. The second that girl runs into a good counter puncher, she's going to get sat on her ass.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and yeah, I mean, it was, as I said, Lucy Wildheart was not to the same level as Sabrina Perez was. It was a step back, and you know, even though she got the stoppage, it was a corner stoppage. She looked okay. She didn't look terrible. You know, she looked okay. I think Sky is one of those fighters that she fights to the level of her opponent.
Okay.
So she does what she needs to win, but I think once she gets in there with someone better, she might actually step up to their level, because I felt she'd done that in the Perez fight. Okay. She stepped things up, even though she had a massive height advantage. But anyone thinks that she can beat Amanda Serrano, who's apparently having her first PFL MMA fight shortly, they're fucking delusional. Amanda Serrano kicked the living shit out of Sky Nicholson.
And also, Amanda Serrano is in the running to fight Katie Taylor in a rematch in Croke Park over in Northern Ireland.
Ireland, not
Ireland.
Is it in Ireland or not?
I keep mixing it up. In Ireland. But also, there's that third fight with Chantel Cameron as well. But it's looking like they may be positioning, and Amanda Serrano clearly wants to fight. So I'm guessing, you know, Sky Nicholson, you know, next fight, I wouldn't be surprised if she fights a Sarek Mahmoud. All the other names I'm not really too familiar with, but I'm guessing Danilo Ramos. Eddie Hearn's going to find somebody for this Mahmoud girl. She lost to Amanda Serrano via decision last year. Covered that fight. Tough fighter, but I won't be surprised. She's from Denmark. I won't be surprised if she gets that fight with her. Now, it's a fight coming up this weekend, and you've been telling me about this guy. Oh, by the way, take a time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360 and the Fight View 360 Boxing Podcast with my colleague Big J. And as you can see here on the screen, you can follow him on Twitter. There it is right there. Boom, at Old Mate Big J. So tell me about this Alex Winwood.
Okay, so Alex Winwood was a Tokyo Olympian. Did pretty well. I think he got to the quarters or the semis. Didn't medal, obviously. And he is now a prospect that is in contention, real contention, with breaking Jeff Fennick's 7-fight record to a world title. He's fighting for the WBC minimum weight eliminator. If he wins this fight, he will fight the champion in his next fight. I believe that's what's going to happen. I believe this is similar to the Tszyu, what do you call it? Tszyu when he fought Bowen Morgan. It was a final eliminator. If he wins, he'll be in contention for the WBC minimum weight title. I think the champion's from Mexico. I keep on hearing that he might be fighting in Mexico next year, or wherever the current champion is from at the moment.
What belt? I mean, what organization?
WBC minimum weight. He's ranked like number 2.
The WBC is a guy by the name of Panya Pradabsri. Hold on, let me see if I can pull him up. He's a Thailand fighter. Very Thailand name. WBC champion is listed as a Thailand fighter. But yet, wait a minute. It's saying that BoxRec isn't updated. It's saying that he lost his belt in his last fight, October the 7th. So the new WBC minimum weight champion is a guy by the name of Yudai Shingayaka from Japan.
Okay.
So a Mexican fighter, I'm not seeing Oscar Collazo is the WBO champion. He sounds Mexican. And Winwood, okay, so basically Winwood is weight number 2 by the WBC. He is ranked number 8 by the WBO. Currently, right now, he's now ranked by, and number 5 by the IBF. So if he's fighting a Mexican fighter in Mexico, I would only imagine that it can be this Oscar Collazo guy.
Possibly, but I believe that they're going out. This fight that he's having now with the Filipino bloke is for the number 1 spot with the WBC.
Okay.
So his next fight is going to be whomever the WBC champion is. So
okay.
That's my belief of what I think I sent you a video clip about it too.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to be monitoring this. He fights actually on Friday. On December the 1st.
Yeah, December the 1st in Perth. I was actually just in Perth 2 weeks ago for work. Okay. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. I'm pretty sure there might be a stream or a YouTube thing. It's Dragon Boxing. It's Tony Tolles. He manages the Moloney twins.
Okay.
It's his show. So,
okay, I'll be sure to we'll be sure to look into that. Next week is a big card headlined by Regis Prograis, defending his WBC 140-pound title against Devin Haney. And on that card, you have the return of Liam Parrow, 23-0 with 14 KOs, taking on Montana Love, 18-1-1 with 9 KOs. It stands for the WBO Global Super Light weight title. So therefore, I'm guessing this is an eliminator. Let me check real quick. What have you heard about this fight? It should be an eliminator, right?
I believe so, because Tszyu had that same global belt. But then again, he defended it like 5 times before he got his title shot. But then same situation. I think he'll be pretty high up there once he gets. I think the global belt gets you in the top 5.
But wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Liam Parrow drop several spots in the rankings for the WBO?
He did. He was like number 1 there at one point, and then he just disappeared because he was going to take on Prograis originally. for the WBC belt, and then he had that he had that Achilles heel injury.
So basically, they were like, "All right, you fight for the WBC, then we're going to drop you down in our WBO rankings." I see what was odd.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, it was like, damn, he's ranked number 11 by the WBO. That's a big drop. He's not ranked currently by the IBF. He is not ranked by the WBA or the WBC. And Montana Love is just not ranked anywhere at all, even though it's still somewhat of an intriguing fight. You know.
I mean, there was talk there at one point that he was going to fight Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, yeah, but I mean, I still think it's a bullshit fight that, Liam is levels above Montana Love, but he has been out of the ring because he hasn't been in the ring since he knocked the shit out of Brock Jarvis.
October of last year.
Yeah, exactly. So he's had a pretty long layoff for a pretty bad injury, so he needs someone that is of mid-card status that he can easily clean up and, have an easy night at the office and prepare for the next one. So,
from what I've seen, go ahead.
Business speaking wise, it's a very smart, intelligent opponent for Liam to get him back, shake the cobwebs off, get him back in there. So,
and despite how Montana Love performed against Stevie Spark, he's also on a layoff. Harold will be coming on into the ring at a 14-month layoff, and Montana Love will be on a 13-month layoff by the time he gets into the ring. That Stevie Spark fight just was all over the place, but overall, I still consider him a very competent. He's a good fighter. It should be a good fight for Liam Paro, and I'm not counting Montana Love out, even though I am going to be picking Paro for the win. But it's going to be really interesting to see where the winner goes from here. As I'm looking at the rankings right now, him being Liam Paro being a matchroom fighter, I will not be. I can't predict it. Maybe an Arnold Barboza. He just signed with Golden Boy. So they're under the same broadcaster, the Zone. I can't see him fighting. I doubt that with Eddie Hearn's stable being as barren as it is right now. I can't see him being linked out the top rank unless it's actually for a title. So it's going to be really interesting to see who they're going to be targeting next. But of course, we're going to be covering that fight, and we're going to be doing a fight week preview on that as well. So before I forget, he's not in our show notes, but Justice Hooney. What do you think? I remember doing a video, the post-fight video, and I was saying, he needs some power to keep these fighters off of him. Especially with Andrew Tabiti, who he couldn't, knock out. And Andrew Tabiti being a smaller fighter, I only have to assume that Andrew Tabiti was put in there, hopefully, for Justice Hooney to look spectacular. But did you get a chance to check? What do you think about him right now in his career? And also, I'm wondering when he's going to be back, because it's time for him to really start stepping up in competition. And as we are going to talk about later on in the video with Tszyu Opetaia, a little bit touch on it, but the heavyweight division is deep.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be the chance for the Dempsey McKean fight, and probably now is the time to do it. But the problem is with Justice Hooney is that he's pillow-fisted. He's got no power. His footwork and his work ethic and his output and all that is phenomenal. He moves like a lightweight, but unfortunately, he's got the power of 1-2. The second he comes up against someone who can punch, he'll get knocked out. Imagine he would go up against Zhang Zhang. Zhang Zhang would knock his fucking head off.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't see him unless he's 25 now, so he should be filled into his frame without too many dramas. Unless he starts working on his power, he's got no hope at the top of the heavyweights because he just won't be able to knock him out.
He won't be able to keep competent.
He won't be able to keep him off.
Yeah,
exactly. He'll get knocked out and knocked out badly. So
yeah, we saw with Demetrius Andrade, who lost, actually quit in his corner against David Benavidez this weekend. He had all the flash, all the razzle dazzle, and the speed, but when it came to the power, he could not keep David Benavidez off of him.
And when you get to that elite level, you need that power.
Yeah, you need.
It doesn't matter what division you're in.
The other fighter at bay, you definitely do. So on to the next topic. We got the Moloney brothers returning. When does Andrew return? He's taking on Judy Flores.
December 9th, Saturday night in Melbourne on a Wildfighter card, Wild Fighter, which is a Will Tomlinson card. He's a former IBO super featherweight champion. Yeah, that's it. I can't remember where it is. It's in Melbourne somewhere.
It says the Pullman Hotel at Albert Park.
Yeah, Albert Park, that's it. It is in conjunction with Top Rank. Spoke to Andrew the other day. Said, yeah, no, he's still at Top Rank. It's in conjunction with him. I said, okay, no worries. And then Jason is fighting January 10th in Canada because Ryan Murdoch's on that card as well, another Australian, and I can't remember what the main event is.
Okay, Andrew Moloney, he's taking on this guy, Judy Flores, who is 13-1 with 7 KOs. He last fought this June. Actually, this is going to be his 4th fight in 14 months. This Judy Flores, 25-year-old Filipino fighter, and these guys are usually always pretty dangerous. Biggest fight of his career, well-known fight of his career, is when he took on Antonio Nieves. That was, what card was this? I saw this card. It was last May 2022. No, I haven't seen this card. I thought I did. But I'm not counting this guy out. I'm gonna watch a little bit of tape on him. Andrew's last fight was against Junto Nakatani. There was some talks of a rematch at a WBO conference about less than a month or so ago. And basically somewhat of a must-win for Andrew, 32 years old. We was talking about yesterday how, the Maloneys, they can't be upset at Top Rank because Top Rank has really been pushing them. They've been main eventers. They've been getting their title shots, their rematches. So it's time for them to especially for Andrew to really, really show something in this fight. Or, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut.
Well, that's true. I mean, if he doesn't win this fight, it's like, okay, well, where does he go? Because, I mean, he's not, 32 is not old these days. I mean, for the bantamweight division, it's getting up there. But then again, it's up there. But then again, Nito Donaire and Farah Sicko, Nito Donaire was like 40 and still competing.
True, but Donaire is a Hall of Famer special fighter.
Yeah, Nito Donaire is a freak. So, we'll see. He definitely needs to win. He needs to make a statement victory in this fight. He definitely needs to win and win convincingly to get back onto the main cards. Jason's fighting. Who's he fighting?
Jason's fighting is Saul Sanchez.
He's ranked what? Is it top 10, like bottom top 10 of the WBO?
Hold on, let me check.
Is he 11?
Let me see.
He's around 10 to 15 there somewhere. He's down the bottom half. Or bottom third.
I don't see him on the WBO rankings. Maybe these rankings have not been updated yet. Here, let me go to WBO. I don't see him on the BoxRec rankings, but let me check the actual WBO rankings. But yeah, he still got his WBO title, and right now that division is opening up, and you could possibly see some unifications.
Well, I heard that what's his name, Manny Rodriguez has retired. Is that true or not?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, well, there goes that bloody rematch and unification bout. So
he won the belt and
that
retired.
would have been massive.
But maybe, depending on who, because right now, there's 2 Japanese fighters, Ryusuke Nishida and Asho Ishida, basically, who are likely going to be fighting for the vacant title. And then there's a 4th fighter who's also Japanese, and Top Rank has a very strong relationship with making fights with Japanese fighters who are usually under the same promotion over there. And then for the WBA, that's the Kuma Inoue, who's also a champion. So, there's chances, for Jason Moloney to possibly capture another belt. I'm interested how he's going to look against this Saul Sanchez. Let me see if I've seen him fight before. By the way, Jason didn't look too sharp in his last fight, but he did fought a very good fighter in Vincent Astrolabio. Saul Sanchez is 20-2 with 12 KOs, 26 years old, from the States. I have not seen him fight before. at all. So this is going to be an interesting fight to check out. This fight is going to be taking place on the undercard of Callum Smith and Artur Beterbiev, which was postponed a couple of times. That's going to be on January the 13th. Also on Top Rank on ESPN primetime here in the States. So we're going to be monitoring that. Now let's talk about what's going on with Tszyu Opetaia, who's going to be a part of that massive card in Saudi Arabia on December the 23rd against Ellis Zorro, who I haven't heard of. There was even talks of him possibly fighting a Richard Riakporhe or revisiting that fight against a Richard Riakporhe. But it ended up being an Ellis Zorro. Let me see who this guy is. 17-0 with 7 KOs. He's a UK fighter. Haven't seen no fighters of note that I know of. But then again, it's the cruiserweight division, so it's kind of all over the place. We're going to be doing a full fight week preview for this card and post-fight. So during fight week, I'll have some time to have watched some tape and give you my assessment of the fighter. So let me tell you about this card. It's going to be headlined by Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin, Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker, and then it's going to be Dimitri Bivol versus Lyndon Arthur, Tszyu Opetaia versus Ellis Zorro, Daniel Dubois versus Gerald Miller, Aslanbek Mukhadamudov versus Ajit Kabiel, Frank Sanchez versus Junior Fa, and Philip Hergovitz versus Mark Demore. Excellent card, and just how did they put that together with the money? And it's going to be $39.99 here in the States on pay-per-view. $39.99, not $80, not $75. $39.99 over in the UK. It's going to be a part of the regular The Zone subscription. How did the Saudis do it? But hey, I'm not asking no questions. So basically, it's a stay busy fight for Opetaia. What have you heard? Anything new going on with him?
No. I think he's going to get past the Zorro bloke and then be looking for unification bouts next year, obviously. As I've said before, we've got 3 champions, Jason, Jai, Tim, which could be potential undisputed in their retrospective divisions. I think Jai is probably the most likely to do it because the other 2 divisions are quite strong. The cruiserweight division's always been a bit of a meh division, but I honestly believe, and most people do, that Jai can dominate the cruiserweight division. I really hate when they say he should go to heavyweight. What the fuck for? He doesn't need to go to heavyweight. He needs to stay away from heavyweight.
Exactly.
So,
it's too much politics, and he won't be sniffing a title shot until at least 2026. It's booked up. There's no reason for him to go up there.
Exactly.
And that
we
older
still don't know
class is
how.
almost gone, so he can be a part of the newer class. Like, he's still young, 28 years old, and heavyweight division, you're not really old up there until you're about 40 or so. So he's got at least. Go ahead.
And we still don't know how well his jaw's recovered yet, because he didn't get cracked in that last fight he had.
Yeah, against Jordan Thompson, who we stopped in round number 4, by the way.
Well, he let him off the hook. He really should have stopped him in round 2. But anyway, yeah, I don't think Jai's going to have any problems with this Zorro bloke, and then it's going to be probably looking to a unification bout in 2024.
Yeah, so let me tell you about who the champions are. You have Chris Billum-Smith, who's going to be taking on Mashuj Masternak coming up soon, and then he has that rematch clause with Lawrence O'Colly. You have Ursuline Goulamarian. We don't know what's going on with him, but he's got something coming up. And then you have Noel Gaver, who is the WBC champion, who defeated Ayunga Makabu. I covered that fight on the channel. So once again, as we talked about many times before, this division is really all over the place. This cruiserweight division, and it's going to be really interesting to see if they're going to be able to pull off a unification for Opetaia next, because that's the route to go. And with it being somewhat of a weak division, what's the point of fighting one of the tougher fighters like Junior Dorticos, or Miras Breedis again, if it's not for a title or unification,
Yeah, exactly.
So I think
did you say Masterneck's fighting Billum-Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, so the bloke, because the bloke that he dodged bloody Jai to fight the other fella. Yeah, it was all political boxer or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, it is very political. So you got Gilberto Ramirez in the division, Junior Dorticos, Miras Breedis. All these guys don't have a title. I mean, he can fight those guys, but the way Eddie Hearn works, he's going to be like, what's the point of fighting these tough fights? If it's not a unification, go for a unification next. So we're going to see what type of magic they can work. And shout out to Opetaia for actually getting 2 fights in this year after being off for what is it, 13 months?
Well, he beat Bringus
14
last
months?
year, July 2nd.
Yeah, and then
So
he fought
he
Jordan
beat Bringus
Thompson on September the 30th, and here he
September.
is back.
September 3rd,
And
yeah.
here he is back getting another fight before the end of the year. So we're going to be
Well,
doing. Go ahead.
as I've said many, many times before, the dangerous fighter is the active fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you keep active, you keep dangerous. So,
Yeah. So moving on, Tszyu, now full WBO champion, is supposed to be returning in Vegas in March. And the rumors are it's not going to be Jamel Charlo, but Erickson Lubin. So if you don't know, once Jamel Charlo stepped into the ring against Saul Canelo Alvarez September the 30th and put on that piss poor performance, he had relinquished or vacated his WBO title. I guess you can't say he was stripped. It's just I don't know well, either way, once he stepped into the ring against Canelo, he no longer had that WBO title. Tszyu was elevated. The IBF title has now been vacated. Was it stripped or vacated?
vacated, I believe.
Got you. Yeah, vacated. So you're going to have Jack Kouquet and Bakram Murtazaliev, longtime IBF mandatory, finally fighting for that title sometime soon, sometime in the first quarter of 2024. So Charlo has the WBC and the WBA remaining. Now, if you know about the WBC and just off of the Jamal Charlo situation alone, the WBC is not stripping Jamal Charlo, and the WBA is a shitty organization. They're definitely not going to be stripping him. So, as far as Tszyu concerned, tell me about this event that's supposed to be taking place. What you know so far?
Well, the plan is to piggyback it off the NRL season kickoff, which is happening March 2nd, where the Broncos are playing Hang on, Broncos are playing the Roosters and Manly's playing the Rabbitohs. To kick off the NRL season, to try to get promotion of the NRL National Rugby League in America. And obviously, no limit. Obviously, George Rose, being a former NRL player, wants to piggyback off that to promote Tim's next fight in Vegas. So they want to make it a whole weekend affair. Having Tim fight on the Friday night before the NRL does the doubleheader on the Saturday. That's the plan.
I wonder what Jamel Charlo is going to do. My gut is telling me that he's going to come back. He's going to fight Sebastian Fundora because Sebastian Fundora never got his rematch against Mendoza. You know, PBC kind of works like that. I can see Jamel Charlo coming back to fight Fundora as a comeback fight. I can see Tszyu taking on Erickson Lubin, and then they possibly revisiting Charlo versus Tszyu later on in 2024. And I'm guessing to see how like Tszyu's buzz is in Vegas and try to piggyback off of that. You know, what's your thoughts on who do you want to see Tszyu face?
Well, I mean, I'm happy with that as well. I mean, I'm quite happy for him to fight Erickson Lubin. I'm pretty sure Erickson Lubin is ranked within the top 10 of the
Number 4.
WBO. Number 4, well, there you go. So, I mean, Murtazaliev, I'm glad that he's finally going to get his shot. Charlo, people with his brother Jamal, people were praising his performance. I disagree. He was dicking around for 2.5 years. He come in overweight. Yeah, his in-ring performance wasn't too bad, but really all that bullshit on the other side. I hope, to be honest, I think the Tszyu Charlo fight now has lost some shine because it's not going to be for Undisputed.
Yeah.
That was, it needed to be for Undisputed, and now it's lost its shine. So Jamel Charlo, by fucking around, has actually done himself a disservice. Well, actually, I don't think he gives a shit because he got his $10 million for fighting Canelo. but yeah, I mean that fight has lost a lot of its shine now because it's not going to be for undisputed because either Jack Kokay or Bakram Matazaliev are going to be the IBF champion within the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So they might fight for 3 belts. Well, they might definitely will, but it's not undisputed. And like some fights are only worth doing if all the belts are on the line. And this was the one where it had to be undisputed. It's like, now it's only for 3 belts. It's like, it's lost a bit of its shine. It's still a massive fight, but it's lost a little bit of a, it's probably lost 20% of its shine, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to be monitoring that. I'm guessing, obviously, until PBC announces their deal. I'm pretty sure Tszyu is going to be staying with them. I'm hearing, well, it's going to be Amazon. We know that for sure, and it's going to be 2 other networks that I'm hearing as well that PBC are going to be using for their regular non-pay-per-view fights, and then for their like developmental fights, kind of like a Showbox Fox Sports 1 type of fight. So we're going to be monitoring that to see what happens. We haven't heard from Jermell Charlo since he made that shitload of money in that piss poor performance against Canelo Alvarez. But as far as the WBC and the WBA concerned, he has no pressure on his back from them, so he can sit back and relax and hold on to them belts. We're going to do some more in-depth, a more in-depth video on Tszyu, Charlo, and Erickson Lubin coming up. But to close out the video, another fight we're going to be doing in-depth coverage for, and we're going to be going to the fight, providing full coverage, given that we have plenty of time to prepare, since it's going to be in late March, mid to late March, or as far as in April. The fight that nobody's really asking for, former undisputed, whatever you want to call, I hate saying undisputed, but it was the franchise. But anyway, we're going to say just former unified champion George Kambosos taking on former unified champion Vasyl Lomachenko. What have you heard about that fight?
Well, I've heard that it's going to be around March, April. I think Lou DiBella put out a social media post within the last probably 3 or 4 days saying the fight is official. It's going to happen in Australia. It's just a matter of when and what venue. So the date and the venue is to be announced, so TBA. Lots of venues are getting thrown around. Perth, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Adelaide. For those international viewers that don't know where that is, Perth is the capital city of Western Australia, which is obviously on the west coast of Australia. Adelaide is the capital city of South Australia, which is pretty much south central Australia. It's right in the middle there. The Gold Coast, it's in Queensland. Everyone knows where the Gold Coast is. Melbourne is where I live. I'm not a huge fan of Victoria, but that's where I live. Bottom southeastern part of Australia. I think, funnily enough, Sydney hasn't got a mention, which is where George is from. So,
what's the buzz going to be like for this fight over there?
Sorry?
What's the buzz going to be like? I mean, over here in the States, you're seeing a lot of comments of people like, nobody asked for this. Why do we want to see Lomachenko go over to Australia and beat up George Kambosos for what?
Because Bob wanted it 4 years ago. That's why. Bob Arum's wanted this fight a long time, wanted it 4 years ago, and it's the opportunity for Lomachenko to win back the IBF belt, because I believe it'll be for the IBF. They wait for the IBF to free up Haney's belt. It'll be for the IBF, IBO, and possibly even the ring, from what I've been hearing. So there'll be 3 belts on the line. That's what I'm hearing. I can't confirm the ring, but I'm pretty sure the IBF and the IBO will be on the line because George is the IBO champion.
Kambosos and Loma are the top 2 contenders for the IBF title.
For the IBF. And so I heard someone say somewhere that the ring might be on the line, but I'm not 100% sure on that
Stevenson
one.
is the WBC champion. Devin Haney is the WBA super champion. They still have that going around. Tank Davis, the WBA regular champion. Devin Haney still is the IBF and the WBO. Wait, he still has the WBO, right? Yeah, he still has that. I personally, I'm not looking forward to the fight. But then again, it may be exciting because Loma is. I mean, he didn't look like he was slowing down or getting older against Devin Haney. But still, age is still a factor there. But I don't see George Kambosos being able to beat him. He did
No,
beat
I mean,
Teofimo, but it's just like Loma is just a very highly skilled fighter. I just, like
extremely
George,
highly skilled.
I just can't see it. George Kambosos,
Well,
21-2 with 10 KOs. His last fight was against Maxie Hughes, where he didn't look good. That was this past July.
yeah, and how you beat Kambosos off the jab, and with Loma having his excellent amateur record, that's everything is built off the jab. Everything Lomachenko does is built off the jab. So
Yeah.
I don't see George getting the done. I mean, of course, I'm happy to be wrong. I mean, many a champion have come out to Australia and looked like shit. Hence Pacquiao. So
Yeah.
it has happened before, and it can happen again. So, but I'd be interested to see. I think I'm tipping they'll probably put it in Melbourne again, just because of the large Greek population in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Melbourne has the second biggest Greek population outside of Greece.
Okay.
So, but I'm hearing things about Perth, and Perth has a massive stadium called Optus Stadium, where cricket and footy. Actually, our WWE is going.
Stadium.
No, but it holds 60,000.
No,
It holds 60,000 people. But
they're not giving Kambosos that no more.
I don't. I mean, I think if they could put it in Melbourne, Rod Laver, they'd probably get maybe 10 to 12 there. So that's probably realistic. But I don't.
Yeah, I don't see a stadium.
I'm tipping Melbourne because, it's not going to be a stadium fight because as good as Loma is, no one in Australia would know who he is. The casuals wouldn't care.
Mm.
So only hardcore fans would know who Loma was. So it would be a very
and if they know who Loma is,
sell.
and if they know who Loma is, then they're gonna be like, oh, he's gonna beat Kambosos. So
Exactly.
So it's just but for some reason, Bob Arum and Top Rank have been obsessed with this fight it's been about 4 years at least, right? They've been talking about this fight.
They've been talking about it since this time 2019. This was supposed to happen before COVID come along and fucked everything up.
Yeah, but I've been hearing about this. Even it feels like even before that. Like Bob Arum saying Loma can go over to Australia. He's the one to take him over there for many years.
5 years.
Yeah. So with that being said, closing thoughts.
I've got to give a shout out to Nikita Zoo, who beat Dylan Biggs the last Wednesday night to become the Australian super welterweight champion. He's now, I think, 8-0. Beat him in a 5-round, pretty much a 5-round destruction. Yes, he got knocked down in the first round, got back up and just kicked the shit out of poor old Dylan Biggs. This is boxing season for Australia. As we know, the footy season's not on anymore. The footy season, as we explained in the video, will kick off in March. So between now and March is the perfect time for boxing to build itself up. Things will die off once the footy season kicks in. But until the footy season starts, which is 3.5, 4 months away, Australian boxing is going to be very, very busy. And we're looking forward to it. So.
All right. You can follow Big J on Twitter, as you can see on the screen, at Old Maid Big J. You can follow me at TstreeT Controversy. And you will be hearing from us again later on this week for a Fight Week preview, and basically probably checking and see what's going on with what happened with Alex Winwood. And we'll definitely be back next week to talk about Liam Powell, Montana Love, and Ebony Bridges, and whoever he'll be fighting. And then, of course, for your biggest fights involving Australian boxing, you can always count on Fight View 360, TstreeT Controversy, and Big J. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.